Want to get some of the crew is not going to be working on New Year's Day, and so I want to get everybody's predictions as we roll into the weekend. Who is in your college football national title game? I said I think it's going to end up being Alabama Clemson. You rolling with that matchup, Danny G?
Yeah, first of all, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Thank you to our sponsors, our guests, to you and everybody, the crew on the show and everybody behind the scenes, the editing department, all the editors, and everyone here at Fox Sports Radio. Yeah, thank you for a great year. Clay, I got Clemson over Ohio State by 6, Alabama over Notre Dame by 10. And then in the NFL, I think that the Bills, even resting some starters, are going to beat the Dolphins and surprise some people, win that game by a field goal. The Dolphins will be on the outside looking in.
All right. What about you, Dub? How would you break down college football and your expectation for the NFL playoff situation?
Well, I know one thing and one thing only. Alabama will beat Notre Dame. I know that for a fact. I feel very comfortable stating that fact. The other game is interesting because of all the comments Dabo Swinney's been making all week, over the past 2 weeks, really. We talked a little bit about this on the show earlier in the week. I don't know. Lance Taylor kind of made me think about this one twice. I do think Clemson's going to win, but that one's going to be testy, I think.
Yep. What about in the playoff picture? Do you think that we'll have an 11-win team in the AFC getting left out, or do you think that it'll settle itself out in a different way?
I think it's going to settle itself out in a different way. I think Cleveland loses. I think Miami loses. It makes my head hurt to read all those breakdowns on if this wins, this happens, yada, yada. So we'll just see what happens on Sunday.
The NFC is way more complicated than the AFC because we know the top 3 teams in the AFC, and we know that the Chiefs are going to be 1, and we might have to flip 2 and 3 if the Steelers won and the Bills lost, right? But otherwise, we know 1, 2, and 3, and there aren't very many teams on the outside looking in that could find their way in. The Colts are on the outside looking in right now. The NFC, I mean, really, I saw the scenario the NFL tweeted out. There's like 100 plus different, I think it was like 120 different versions of what the playoffs could end up looking like in the NFC primarily because there's so many different teams still alive in the NFC East to potentially win that division, which makes things so much more complicated. So that one really will make your head spin. But the AFC, not that complicated. Is Eddie still here or did he leave?
I'm still here.
Oh, wow. It's a New Year's miracle. You did your update and you hung on. By the way, I really do mean this for everybody out there. I appreciate all of you who have spent 2020 listening to us. It's the most listened year we've ever had at OutKick, and it's the least amount of sports that's ever existed, certainly for anybody out there. I mean, we went months without any games to talk about at all, and I really do appreciate everybody's work on the show, including Eddie, even though I oftentimes give people a hard time on the show. So, Eddie, what would your predictions be for those situations, for college football playoff and for the NFL playoffs?
Yeah, I like Alabama and Clemson. I'm not really concerned about the bulletin board stuff. I'm a little bit concerned that apparently Clemson's offensive coordinator is not going to be there.
Yeah, Tony Elliott's not going to be there, which is potentially a big issue.
I still think they're much better than Ohio State. I actually think Notre Dame would beat Ohio State if they played it. But anyway, I'm going with the chalk there in college football. And in the AFC, I've got the Dolphins losing, but I think the Browns lose as well, so Miami gets in, and the Colts will get in.
Interesting. What about who wins the NFC East? I'll go quickly around. I think as long as Alex Smith plays, I think Washington wins. If they have to play Taylor Heineke, I think I'm mispronouncing his name, but if they have to play him, then I think the Cowboys are going to get in.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
I'm going to go Cowboys as well.
What about you, Dub?
Well, my preseason NFC champion pick Cowboys will win the NFC East and keep my prediction alive.
Yeah, I need to go to those. I told Danny G I was going to ask him. I'll see what those predictions are here in a moment. Eddie, how would you break down? Roberto, how would you break down the college football playoff and also the NFL playoff picture?
I got Alabama versus Ohio State, and I got the Dolphins and Dolphins and the Colts getting in there.
Okay, so let me go back to our predictions we made before the season started. I'll start with mine because I'm pretty sure what I had. I believe I had the Chiefs from the AFC and the Saints from the NFC.
Correct.
The only small adjustment I would make potentially is I think the Packers are playing better right now than the Saints, but I still think that's a pretty good a Super Bowl prediction given where we are right now. So I'm comfortable sticking with that. What was your prediction?
Yeah, you had the Saints winning it all. Arizona wins the NFC West as you're out on a limb. The Jags as your worst team, and Tom Brady as your MVP.
Well, I mean, not perfect, but decent. All right,
Not
what about
bad.
you?
For me, AFC champ, I took the Bills, which you thought
that was a pretty that was a bold pick that could end up materializing here.
And NFC champ, in honor of my radio friend who died, I took his Niners, remember?
Oh, yeah.
But they died like he did.
Oh,
out on a limb, Raiders wild card, R.I.P. Dave. Raiders wild card. He was a funny radio guy. He would like that. Worst team, Jags. And let's see, for Eddie, he had Chiefs and Cowboys, with the Cowboys winning it all.
It's a tough one, Eddie.
His out on a limb.
Still alive. Barely with a heartbeat.
Oh, by the way, my out on a limb, I skipped Raiders wild card. Thank you, Gruden and Raiders.
That wasn't even that wild of a prediction that they would make the wild card.
Well, for some people. Remember, Cowherd had them winning 4 games before the season. So, all right, Eddie's out on a limb was Seahawks. Lamar Jackson hurt, misses most of the season.
Well, that was a downer. I don't even remember that prediction. That obviously didn't happen.
Yeah, and his worst team was the Jets. All right, let's see. Roberto, Chiefs, Saints winning it all, same as you.
Yeah.
His out on a limb, Bucks missed the playoffs. His worst team, Jags. His MVP, Drew Brees. Dub, Chiefs, Cowboys Super Bowl with the Cowboys winning it all. His out on a limb, Browns win division. His worst team, Jags. His MVP, Mahomes.
All right. I mean, look, there are some bad predictions in there. I'm looking at you Cowboys fans who somehow are still alive. I mean, the NFC East is bad when I think the Cowboys were 65-1 to win the division just 3 weeks ago. So if you are a dyed-in-the-wool, die-hard Dallas Cowboy fan, you are in an incredible spot right now to be able to potentially be able to cash that. If anybody actually made that bet, you'd be able to cash a big winner if they win on Sunday and if the Washington football team loses.